Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ultimate Channel CK with me, Dr. Lewis Muchile. I want to talk about benefits of giving up sugar, maybe at least a month or two. So these benefits, they come instantly once you start giving up on sugar. And when I talk about sugar, I'm talking about carbohydrates. But I want to also lay emphasis on table sugar, honey, and sweets, and all these confectionery, these good tasting and sweet tasting things. So that is what I refer to as sugar, not only table sugar, but that has to play a major role. Okay. So what are the benefits of giving up this sugar? Remember, sugar is the major culprit in something called metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance. So every time you take sugar, what happens is you absorb that sugar quickly. Once you absorb that sugar quickly, it gets into your bloodstream and the sugar levels in your bloodstream shoot. Once they go high, the body instructs the pancreas to give you insulin so that it can take this sugar outside the system. So this is your bloodstream. And insulin comes in to take sugar out. Okay? So once insulin comes in to take this sugar out, it creates a state of hypoglycemia. So it's pumping out this sugar from your system. Now that creates a lower state of blood sugar again. Now that is a problem because that is the reason why you keep on eating sugar. Because every time you've eaten sugar, insulin pumps it out and again you have a craving, so you take more sugar. Now we want to burn this sugar in the system, and we also want to train our bodies to concentrate on other sources of glucose rather than sugar or carbohydrates, and that is fat and that is protein. So, number one thing that will happen when you give up on sugar is loss of cravings. Now remember this, I just told you that when insulin comes in to clear the sugar that you've just eaten or you've just absorbed, it pumps it out. Once it pumps it out, it creates a state of hypoglycemia. So your body tells you, now I need more sugar to top up this level so that I can go back to normal. Remember, in your blood vessel or in your bloodstream, the body always fights to give you a certain level of blood sugar concentration. So once that goes down, that is what we call hypoglycemia. And hypoglycemia is what we're trying to fight here. Once the body is trying to fight that continuous fighting of this hypoglycemia and taking in more sugar to correct that hypoglycemia, that is what we call insulin resistance. And that is the problem because it gives you future problems like metabolic syndrome, which includes obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and even future cancer. So that is cravings. Number two, we have less hunger. Less hunger is the same as cravings. Once you clear cravings, you clear hunger. Again, if you keep eating carbohydrates and sugars, your body knows that the only source of energy comes from outside and it's carbohydrates. So the body does not burn your fat. So you'll keep growing big because the body now knows the only source of glucose is carbohydrates. So the body waits until you give it carbohydrates. So this, once you clear the cravings, you clear the hunger. And remember, carbohydrates are the hunger foods. You keep craving them. You can't eat enough of carbohydrates. Once you start eating a biscuit, you will eat it, the entire pack. So the essence of this is to advise you to eat foods that are in high content of fat, because fat is a satiety food, and once you eat it, you will have to take a lot of time before you eat another meal. That will take you into fasting, and that will correct your insulin resistance. Number three, reverse insulin resistance. The essence of all these teachings and all these dietary follow-ups is because we want to reverse insulin resistance. Now, insulin resistance makes you, or is the one that makes you not to burn fat. So it stores fat more. When your body is in a state of insulin resistance, that means you cannot burn fat, you cannot burn protein. So the only thing that you're burning, or the only thing that you're taking in as energy, is carbohydrates, and that is glucose. So insulin resistance is reversed by giving up sugar. So once you give up sugar, you start reversing your insulin resistance, and that means you lose weight, which is the next part, losing weight. Once you reverse sugar, remember sugar is a concentrate, so it concentrates the intracellular fluid or the cellular fluid around your cells. So that will first of all make you thirsty and dehydrated. Number two, if you give up this sugar, that means you will lose the water. Once you lose the water, and you also lose fat through a reversal of insulin resistance, because once you achieve insulin resistance, you start burning fat. Now, that will help you lose weight. Now, this will also correct the metabolic syndrome. So those people who are struggling with weight loss, consider, first of all, dropping your sugar. Correct? So, number 5, reduced RBC stiffness. We put up a video that was talking about red blood cells and sugar complex and their relationship to heart diseases and all these joint diseases. Now, just as a recap, red blood cells, in a process called glycation, they attach to sugar. Once they attach to sugar, they become more stiff because if you pour tea on the table, then leave it for some time, it becomes sticky. The same applies to red blood cells. Once they attach to sugar in a process called glycation, they become sticky. So they stick on the blood vessels, and that means they will inhibit flow of blood. So your tissue will start necrosis, will start rotting, and you might even undergo amputation. Number 2, these cells become very rigid because the sugar is now covering the place or the space that is supposed to carry your oxygen. So you'll have minimal space for oxygen capacity carriage, and also they become stiff. That means they will not go through smaller blood capillaries, and that is a future problem. Good. Number 6, enhanced mood. Now, the best energy source or energy nutrient for the brain is called ketones. Now, ketones, how do they come about? When you start burning fat, it's a process called ketosis. Ketosis is a process by which the body starts to burn fat to give you ketone bodies. And these ketone bodies are the best energy sources of your brain. That means once you start burning fat, you get these ketones and your body is getting the adequate or the optimum nutrients for its survival. Then mood problems start to disappear. Fatigue starts to disappear again because all these are related to ketone bodies. Now remember, sugar kills brain cells. The body does not like sugar. The brain does not like sugar. So glucose kills brain cells. So once you start burning, you stop sugar and you start burning your fat, body fat, then your brain gets the best source of energy called ketone bodies. Now, remember there's a difference between ketosis and ketoacidosis. So, now, that is number 6 and number 7. Number 8, smooth skin. Now, sugar inhibits the absorption of other nutrients. Vitamin C, vitamin E, even vitamin D. And all these, vitamin E, vitamin A, and vitamin D, are the ones that play a role in smooth skin. So if you inhibit absorption of these vitamins from your gut, okay, the one that is a little safer is vitamin D because it comes from direct sunlight. But remember, sugar makes your liver fatty. So it alters the function of the liver. So vitamin D is converted into an active form by the kidneys and the liver. So once you mess your liver with the sugar, then you don't have vitamin D being converted into active forms. So once you inhibit vitamin D conversion, you inhibit absorption of vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin E, and then your skin starts to be rough. You'll get all this psoriasis, eczema, and these allergic conditions of the skin. Good. So basically, those are some of the benefits of giving up sugar. So consider giving up sugar for at least a month and experience all this. We'll see you in the next video.